Peace and blessings, family. Welcome back to another episode of Learn with Shavern. So today we're going to talk about attempting to do something. How many times you guys have tried something and it didn't work for you? You tried it once or twice and you're like, well, that don't work, right? The laws of attraction work in the very same way. It's like the same reason why prayer doesn't work for a lot of people. A lot of people pray on their knees, begging and pleading for things and telling the universe or their God or whoever they worship in how unworthy they are for things and how not deserving. That's the reason why you're not getting anything, because you're telling them how unworthy you are, as opposed to saying and affirming, I am worthy, I am deserving of everything good and abundant coming to me. Thomas Edison, who's usually credited for the invention of the light bulb, he had a quote that said something along the lines of like he attempted to create the light bulb like 1,000 times. He didn't look at it as 1,000 failures, but as 1,000 steps in the creation of the light bulb. Okay, so take that as like a grain of salt. How many times have you tried something and again, you tried it once or twice and it didn't work? Affirmations, laws of attraction, thinking positively, prayers and all of that stuff, meditation, these things work with consistency and doing them for a certain length of time. That old saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. The same thing, like nothing happens overnight. There's nothing that you're going to do where tomorrow you're going to get that instant effect, right? You have to consistently implement thinking positively, consistently implement praying and meditating, and understanding the difference between praying and meditating. Prayer, in my opinion, is your conversation that you're having with your God or your universe, whatever, again, you're worshiping towards. And then the meditation is the silence you sit in to listen to the answers, right? So you want to do those things consistently and implement that time alone, that alone time that is so crucial. With alone time, you actually find a lot of answers to a lot of the issues you may be experiencing. Okay, maybe affirming having a positive day and actually having a positive day obviously are not always going to match up in terms of frequency. I speak a lot in terms of frequency. If you guys have been watching my previous videos, they may not always match up, and that's okay. You still want to always maintain on that positive frequency, that always thinking positively. If you have created your vision board and you've envisioned for yourself the type of things you want for yourself, you want to consistently pray and meditate on those things. But be mindful, because sometimes the universe gives exactly what you want. Sometimes you may not always be ready for it. Sometimes you may block your own blessings. It's really just a matter of timing. And all things happen in their own divine timing. And timing is a really crucial thing, right? I think the time change today had me all kinds of messed up when I woke up this morning, because I conditioned myself to wake up a certain time. And so my alarm went off in that time, but in comparison to when I actually went to sleep, I was like, wait, hold on. Something wasn't matching up. So time is a construct that we live by, but numbers can be our friend, right? Time can be our friend sometimes if utilized correctly. Trying something over and over again the same way creates insanity, but trying something over and over again and experimenting to achieve the same end result is not insanity. Utilizing your creative mind to achieve the things that you want is exactly what you need to be doing. So, for example, if my end result is to obtain a new car, I can pray and meditate on obtaining a new car, but if I don't go out there and create the means, whether I work and I start saving, or if whatever the case may be, however you generate income, right? Praying and meditating without any action doesn't create anything for you as well. So you want to affirm things, you want to pray and meditate on it, and you want to place the action to drive you towards whatever it is you're meaning to obtain. So, and it doesn't matter whatever it is, right? There's nothing too far-fetched. A lot of people have conditioned themselves to constantly listen to others, mainly because they participate in low-frequency behavior. What does that mean? If you find that you're spending a majority of your time, and let's say, for example, you're a male and most of your time is dedicated towards you sitting in front of the television and watching sports all day, what have you fed your mind lately? If you're female, if you have spent a majority of your time gossiping on the phone, talking about others or whatever the case may be. What have you fed your mind lately? You know, you want to feed your mind useful things that I mentioned in yesterday's video, and using that alone time to feed yourself positive things. You cannot expect to have positive results if you indulge in negative behaviors. That's just, I would think that it's common sense. However, a lot of things that I thought were common sense actually have turned out to not be so common in thought. So a lot of people focus on the end result, but no one sees the suffering behind it. So for example, Albert Einstein, he's someone that most people are taught in basic education system. Albert Einstein is accredited with profound advances in science, right? However, no one really highlights, or in the narrative, it gets lost or muddled, the fact that Albert Einstein did not speak. He was not able to articulate until I believe the age of like 4 or 5. He was late in speaking. He had a number of academic learning disabilities, but yet in history he's accredited as one of the greatest thinkers in science. So I want you to think about that. I know I've been mentioning my previous videos more recently about conditioning your children and the pressures as adults we place in our children to meet up to these constructs that have been placed in them. But not all great things start off great all the time. A lot of suffering comes behind the greatness that you see. In one of my previous videos, I mentioned my journey as to how I came into even utilizing the laws of attraction and the low place that I found myself that caused me to even want to manifest better for myself, right? Because I decided at some point that this was not the place that I wanted to be. I do want more. And figuring out that how was probably the hardest thing that I had to do, was figuring out how to achieve more, how to do better for myself. You literally just kind of have to work with what you already have, okay? Working with what you already have will give you the tools and build up your character to achieve exactly what you want. So if achieving, for example, if you wanted to go back to school because you wanted to become a massage therapist or whatever the case may be, that is your end goal. Maybe currently you work at McDonald's. Okay, well, what are the steps that you need to put into place, right? You got to figure out your how. What are the steps you need to put into place to achieve how you're going to be able to do that? Very basic stuff. And remaining positive about it, because again, it's really easy to become sucked into negative situations, negative thoughts, and sitting complacent in negativity because you've been there for so long. Now that feels comfortable. And so indulging or introducing new thoughts or ideas of positivity can seem scary sometimes. Change can be a good thing if it's going in the right direction for you. Most of the stuff that I'm telling you guys, again, you should be experiencing it for yourself. It's all well and good for me to sit here and tell you, oh yeah, laws of attraction work, you should do this thing, it's really good for you. But if you don't try it yourself, then, you know, it's really pointless in just even listening, to be honest. You really want to be thankful and grateful for everything that you currently have, because if you're ungrateful for what you currently have, you wouldn't be blessed with more. That's pretty much how it works. So if all you have are 2 pairs of shoes and 3 shirts and 2 pants, be grateful for what it is that you currently have. Always aspire to want more, of course, but be grateful for what you currently have, because when you do have more, you will also be grateful then to keep receiving even more than that. That's the way that all of that works. During that time period when I was transitioning from making $10 an hour to changing my tax brackets, I lived exactly that. I think I had like 5 tank tops and like 5 skirts and like 2 pairs of shoes at that time, and I rode that out for like a year and a half, almost 2 years. I didn't live by people thinking how I look in some sort of way, because I knew that my end game was going to speak for itself, which it does. Thank you guys for liking, listening, sharing, becoming Patreons. I appreciate all of you guys. Please continue to like, share, subscribe. Peace and blessings, family. Have a wonderful, positive, productive day. And remember, you're amazing.